Senator in the East Bay has some competition in the March 3rd primary election. Democrat Steve Glazer of Orinda has held District 7 state Senate seat since 2015. Now, District 7 spans from Livermore and Pleasanton in Alameda County all the way to Antioch and San Ramon and Contra Costa County. But Marisol Rubio, a mother and health care provider for high-needs students, hopes voters are ready for change. And Marisol Rubio joins me now. Thank you so much for joining us here. So he's held the seat since 2015. Why have you jumped into politics, and why do you think there needs to be change?
Well, as a mother and advocate of a disabled child, brain cancer survivor specifically, for the past 24 years, I saw firsthand the deficiencies, the gross deficiencies that were existing within our healthcare and education system. And I all too often, even as a non-traditional student, when I went back to school to study molecular cell biology with an emphasis in neurobiology at Cal, I realized that the system wasn't really set up to support non-traditional families, and I feel that that actually not only hurts the immediate family, but it hurts our society as well.
Okay, you spoke a little bit about your daughter. Your daughter was diagnosed with brain cancer. Go into a little bit more about how that shaped your views on the healthcare system and what needs to change.
So definitely, we have to look at issues like of FMLA, making sure that FMLA is expanded, because 6 weeks, frankly, is not enough time. And also, when we talk about cutting their benefits or their pay over time when people are in FMLA, that also hurts families who are already struggling. Many aren't even earning, when they are working full-time, enough income. And my opponent actually voted a bill down to support expanding FMLA. I think being in that situation with my daughter, had I not been there for her, there were 4 distinct incidents, including even choosing her chemotherapy, where I had to step up and make executive decisions on her care that ended up resulting in actually in her positive outcome and her being alive essentially today. And it often made me think since then, what happens to families who don't have, say, a family member like I did. I had my mother who was supporting me. To support them during that process. This was a 2-year process. And if I had not been there, the doctors were consistently failing to diagnose her correctly or do the appropriate measures, and she would not be here. So imagine how many children we've lost as time goes by. So from me, it really came from a very personal, fundamental position. And when I see that we have, legislators, state senators like my opponent who don't step up and do what's right by everyday hardworking people, I have a problem with that. I think everyone's life is equally valuable and important. The other thing was that as we went into the educational system, fortunately after my daughter survived, there was a whole host of issues like that were truly a result of underfunding, mostly understaffing, and she couldn't get the services that she needed, such as a reading specialist or getting other social support services that she needed so she could succeed as well as she could have in school. But fortunately, I, having had now an education in neurobiology and having a whole host of other supplemental courses that helped me and enabled me to truly not only be a great healthcare advocate for my daughter, but also be, supplement her education and give her the services that she truly needed. And because of that, she is now, despite having, a borderline IQ, she is actually academically functioning well above what's expected. And she's going to college and, and majoring in psychology. So again, this was another instance where I looked back and I thought to myself, think about how many kids are going without their talents and their skills being tapped into simply because they learn differently. And what if they don't have parents where English is their first language?
Sure.
What if their parents are too busy working where they can't support them in that way? Just a whole host of issues that I truly think about, and I know that we're not there. We're not doing anything for them, really.
And so, Marisol, we only have here about a minute left.
Sure.
What would you like to tell voters in District 7? What are other issues that are important to them and to you?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I think it's a wrong assumption to ever assume that because I may be more liberal on some social issues, that I'm fiscally irresponsible. As a single mother for the past 24 years, the one thing you learn right away is how to be fiscally responsible. So that is incorrect. I definitely will always be mindful of that to make sure that we establish streams of funds to do the things that we want to accomplish. The other thing is I'm running a clean money campaign. And what I mean by that is I'm not taking corporate money and I'm not taking big oil or fossil fuel money, which is really important, unlike my opponent, by the way, which is really important for people, especially if you care about the environment and making sure that we're transitioning out of polluting type of energy sources into renewable energy and carbon capture efforts and laying the infrastructure for a green economy, et cetera. And as another issue that's I think is just from my standpoint of view, my campaign is, the reason it's so important that I'm running it the way I am and that I'm working 10 times harder to make sure to stay, to compete is because I want to be there and loyal to the people, not corporations.
Okay, thank you so much again for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
Marisol Rubio, thank you again. And CBS